Hey guys, Little John here. Today we're going to be going over the windshield wiper stretch. This is a great exercise that will challenge your flexibility and mobility of your hips, particularly in that internal rotation and external rotation fashion. So you'll feel a lot of this stretch through like the inside of your hip, like through your groin, your adductors, some of those internal rotators, but you might also feel it through your external rotators on the outside of your hip. We're going to cut to a slightly different angle where I can't make eye contact with you, so I want to talk about a couple things first. The most important key for this exercise is that your pelvis does not tilt with the movement of your legs and your hips. The reason being is once that pelvis tilts far enough, you actually start to lose some of the stretch and the integrity of the exercise, and you just won't get as much out of it. So it's really important that we think of making sure that our hip is what's moving in our hip joint, that ball and socket, rather than tilting our entire pelvis and adding that into the exercise. So I have this vision where I snap my fingers and all of a sudden we're at the next video. Here we go. Part 2. Okay, so we're gonna start laying on our backs, and then from here, I'm gonna bring my legs out wide enough where I can see my heels, okay? My knees will follow, and then I'm gonna put my arms straight out to the side. What's gonna happen is I'm going to bring my left leg to the outside and my right leg in. So I'm gonna be moving like this. And you can see if I just let this fall, my pelvis just rotates with it, right? So ideally what I want is I wanna try and keep this pelvis stable. So I'm gonna try and keep it as upright as possible and as flat as possible so that when I turn, I feel a little bit more of a stretch. You can see my pelvis still tilts a little bit, but it's not as much as if I were to just try and relax completely. So from here, you can hold this for 5 seconds and then come back to center and go the opposite way. Or the other option is if you're not doing this before a workout, you can always hold for a longer period of time, maybe 30 to 60 seconds, and then switch sides from there. If you're doing the 5-second hold, you're just gonna hold for 5 seconds and then move to the opposite side. My hips are very tight, but what else is new? So once you feel like you know the limit and make sure you can keep your pelvis pretty level, then you can put your arms out to the side and then do the same exact thing. Now, if you're feeling like, I feel a little bit of stretch, but I feel like I could go a little bit further, what you can do then is taking, in this case, my left leg, but whichever leg is turning to the outside, you can bring this over the opposite knee and then let that weigh this right leg down a little bit. Now, what shouldn't happen is I pull this hip all the way open, but what I'm doing is keeping my pelvis level and purely just moving from my hip joint and stretching through the inside of this leg. And you might feel it through the outside as well, depending on where you're a little bit more restricted. But for me, I feel this through the inside, kind of through my groin and my adductors. And then when I switch, I'll bring this leg down, let this left leg fall in, and then bring my right leg over and pull, or just kind of let my right leg weigh my left leg down.